Hey, what's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night.
Neek at Night, bringing you the tea, cause the only place I'd rather be is up with you.
And tonight I have with me Alexander Mattison, who is the newest teammate on the Vikings.
Kennedy, you good with this one? Mattison.
The Minnesota Vikings select Alexander Mattison, running back, Boise State.
All right, get him on the phone.
The newest recruit on the Vikings in the 2019 draft. So, tell me a little bit about how it was preparing up until the moment that you got the call. And I'm gonna, before we go like right before the moments that you got the call, I want to talk about just like your inspiration to even just get into football and start, playing football and things like that, and leading you, up to that moment.
Well, I started when I was 6 years old, and I remember seeing Troy Polamalu playing, and that's when I really fell in love with the game and just wanted to give a shot at it. And just seeing him and the way that he played, I always wanted to be a professional athlete and to his caliber, which is all pro and future Hall of Famer. So after seeing my brother play, and then my mom and dad wouldn't let me play at first until they said you have to show that you really want to do it because it costs money. And so after that, I got into it, and then I just never looked back from there after falling in love.
Yeah. I mean, from the moment that I met you, which was, I don't even know how old you were, probably very, very young.
Young, when I was younger, yeah.
Like, very young. But I always remember you always having a football, and that was like you and your brother's like pastime on holidays, y'all shooting around or whatever like that. So tell me a little bit about how I know your mom, your dad, like they're big inspirations, or I don't want to say, I don't know if inspiration is the word, but I know that they help contribute to, you being well-rounded. How do you think that dynamic helped push you into being this well-rounded gentleman that you are now?
Yeah, I definitely have to give my parents all of the credit for shaping me and my brothers the way that we are, raising us the right way, especially in circumstances and situations that weren't always the best. They made sure that we knew school was important, God and family above all things, and then sports followed all that. So they made sure there was no C's in the house when I was growing up. If I didn't have my homework done before practice, I was out there on the sideline doing my homework before I got to practice. So just things like that, just making sure that we grew up the right way, and making sure that we were well-rounded young men as we got older. It was just it was easy to do that once we were older after that helped us and showed us the way growing up.
Okay, and then so growing up, and then you finally, let's like jump start to like when you go to high school. You go to high school, you graduate from San Bernardino High School, right?
Yeah.
And that is like a really rough neighborhood around there.
It all started here, San Bernardino, California, roughly an hour east of Los Angeles. The serenity of the suburbs is a veneer, hiding a sometimes dangerous underbelly.
When we talk about poverty, we're ranked right after Detroit. So there's a lot of gang violence in this community, a lot of homelessness, a lot of single-parent families, just a lot of challenges that our kids have to live in.
How did you maneuver to stay on the right path in such a kind of like poverty-stricken area? Just in that kind of environment where a lot of kids aren't on the right path, and they're not taking their work serious, or their education serious, or their athleticism. How did you stay, grounded in an environment like that?
Well, definitely has to just deal with going back to my roots and knowing where I came from, knowing the way I was taught. And I really had no type of interest in going off down the wrong path, going out and doing anything that I shouldn't be doing, that my parents wouldn't want me doing. And on top of that, it was just I had a drive and a passion for what I wanted to do. And, I wasn't going to let anything stop me from getting there. And then on top of that, I mean, it was either go home and do homework and be at home, or, play more sports. So I just kept playing sports. And I love to be active. I love to do sports. And then on top of that, I was passionate about school and having great grades. So everything just fell into place for me. Even though everything was going on bad around us, uh, like I said, when I was younger, my parents made sure that we were able to live life as kids and not have to worry about anything that was going on. So it was the same way through high school.
Oh, okay, that's dope. So we're gonna jump start because you went from high school and then you went into Boise State, and then from there now you have this transition where you finally are able to live out your dreams. But leading up to that, now I want to go into like what it was like. Maybe like preparation the night before you got the call. Like what was your mind state like going into, you know, like the draft day and hearing your name call, like
Yeah.
what was the preparation leading up to that?
Well, it started off with, I mean, after the season and declaring for the draft, the agent selection process was crazy. I mean, there's agents calling every day, and we just had to kind of figure out what was the best fit for me. And then we were able to find that best fit, and then we went down. I went down to Phoenix to train for the combine, and so
Okay.
leading up to the combine, I'm training 2-3 times a day, and finally get up to the combine, and I mean, it's like a dream come true because I've been watching the combine since I
Yeah.
was a kid.
And then now
So
you're able to actually be
exactly,
a part of it and
exactly.
show your talents or whatever.
Exactly, and it was
Yeah.
the same way with the draft.
Mhm.
Leading up to that, after pro day, I've talked to pretty much all the teams at this point. They've reached out to me in one way or another. I've had great conversations with running backs, coach, and scouts, and I'm feeling good. My stock is rising as the draft is approaching, and so I get a call from my agent the day before, and he tells me, there's a couple teams that might take a swing at you in the third, but there's a 15-20% chance you'll get drafted in the third round. But you're for sure will know that you'll go fourth or fifth round for sure. And so he told me that, and I kind of thought back to when I was younger and growing up in camps and stuff. They always tell us, there's about 15% of you, 10% of you might go to college, and then there's 1% of you that'll make it to the NFL. And so yeah, that's when I said I've told people this before, that when my agent told me that was a 15% chance that I'll get taken in the third, I told him it was a 1% chance that I'll get drafted anyway. So I like those odds, and so that next day when I got that call, it was just a dream come true.
Alexander's Rick Spillman. Are you ready to be a Minnesota Viking?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am.
Okay. Well, we think very highly of you, and we need a big back like you to come in here. And I think you're a phenomenal football player. So
Thank you.
we're excited to get you here where we got you.
Oh, yes, sir. I'm ready to go.
Good. Everybody excited?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
We're excited to have you.
Congratulations, man. You are in this thing, okay? We're going to get you up here and you're going to compete. How's that sound?
I'm ready to go, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, young man. Congratulations.
Your dad shared the photos, and I was mad at him because I wasn't there because he told me the wrong day. But I could just see, like, just like the excitement and the happiness and the joy and the moment of just like, I'm finally here. Like, I've trained every moment to be here, and now I'm finally here. I was just like, wow, I know that had to be something that was very proud, a proud moment of your self-accomplishments, a proud moment of, your parents and everything like that. What advice do you have? Because 1% and out of the whole, you think like out of 1%, like you beat those odds out of like how many people we have on this, United States. And it's like, wow, I made it.
Exactly.
So what advice would you have to somebody that comes from, a place like like San Bernardino County or whatever, and they're feeling like they're defeated and they're thinking like, well, a 1% probably can't happen to me, or what advice do you have to a young athlete who really has a passion for it, but they feel like maybe their environment, or they feel like it probably can't happen to them in real life?
I would definitely just say keep your dreams alive. Don't let the doubters beat you. Don't let that get in your head and make yourself beat yourself. Because really it's only you, and you're the only one that can really control your destiny. And, I was one of those people that at the time thought like, dang, 1%, like, do I have a chance? I hear it again, 1%. Like, they'll tell you, there's only 2 or 3 of you that might make it to the NFL, And I'm like, dang, thinking about it now back then, but I never let it get inside of my head and stop me from accomplishing the things that I have set out to accomplish. So like I said, keep your dreams alive. Anything that you have a dream to accomplish, anything that you're passionate about, do that 110% and give it all your effort, all your energy, and put your love and passion into that, and nothing can stop you.
I do want to interview your dad as well if you want to talk. Well,
oh, yeah.
Come up here. Okay, so now we have Darrell Mattison, who is Alexander Mattison's father. Let me know what it was like for you, like leading up to this moment of him finally being drafted into the NFL, like just from him as a young boy into like, you know, up into this moment.
Well, Alex, he was always real determined. Mm-hmm. So it's like even, I think the last time Alex even got a whooping, he was like 9. It's like, because he had 2 older brothers. So he's like, okay, this is what gets us in trouble. I don't do that.
Right.
You know, I'll leave it to you. So even with the homework, I would say late night, we'd go in, he'd be asleep with his homework because he wanted to make sure he finished everything. Mm-hmm. So I knew he was driven. Or one of the first kids I ever saw that would watch like Madden and just have it on the computer and just sit and watch what plays the other people were doing. So I knew he had a gift and talent for it, especially through Junior All-American up until high school. And then it didn't really get real as far as like taking, because most kids say I want to be a police officer, I want to be a fireman. I'm with that. I'll say, okay, you say I want to be a professional football player. Okay, but like he says, it's 1%. So I'm not going to make you over-believe something. I'll just probably push your dream.
Right.
And then once he got his scholarship to Boise and he went there, and he went in as it was 8 running backs, and he was number 2 as a freshman. You start looking at it like, okay, then his sophomore year, he was the starter. And then he had 1,000 yards. So going into his junior year, I kind of felt like it's a possibility that he can go to the next level as far as to the NFL. That was really definitely a thing. And then once he had that breakout season, you know, as a family, we all sat down and discussed how he felt, because the one thing I've never done with Alex is, whether it was San Bernardino, when at first I didn't want him to go there, and he had other offers from other big schools, but he said, no, Dad, I want to stay here. I want to do it from here. So same thing, we said, I want to go to Boise. Okay, that's your choice. So it was not, you need to go to the NFL. It's, do you think you want to do this? Are you ready to leave? And so when he said, Dad, okay, I've thought about it. We prayed on it. I want to do this. So next step was to get the agents. And once we went through that and he picked the agent, I let him, we did that. And I said the next day, I said, you sure this is the agent you want? He said, yeah, Dad, I'm good with that. So after that, he flew off, and we're staying in contact as he's training, just checking on him, seeing how he's doing. Combine comes, you know, all the family's watching that. Pro Day, me and my wife got a chance to go up there and see him. And then draft day. And leading up to that, I spoke to his agent regularly too. And he told me too it's about 15-20% chance. But I'd already told everybody, first round was Thursday. Friday was the second and third round. And as far as I'm telling everybody, he's going Friday. So watch it Friday. So that I never wavered from that. I'm like, oh, maybe Saturday. I'm like, no, first round, but Friday's the day he's going to get drafted. So me and him sat there with the family, and as certain teams we'd already discussed start picking running backs, it started getting thinner. And I remember you felt nervous energy in the room because it was getting close to the end. And me and him were looking at our phones, you know, this team, that team. And the team, the Vikings, I had never heard about. He said he spoke to him at the combine one time. So in my mind, they're not even in the mix.
Right, because you spoke to all these other teams, and you're thinking
and he flew out to Chicago, and all the teams that were predominantly supposed to select him had already picked running backs. So I said, Alex, did you speak to the Vikings? And he said, once. I said, okay. Well, then the Vikings were supposed to be the pick, and they disappeared from the selection. And then maybe, 2-3 minutes later?
Yeah, they traded back in.
They traded back in. And I said, Alex, they came back in for you. And then I said, well, if they're going to pick you, they're going to have to call you like one of these next 2 teams. And sure enough, we said that, and his phone rang. And so we got sitting there listening to the conversation, and that's where we all got excited and blew up. And then you have to watch it on TV again. So that's 2 big emotional things. So we're all happy. We're trying to keep ourselves together, and now we're about to watch it when they actually say his name on TV. And I think it's nothing greater, whether it was our family members, old babysitters, barbers, just all our friends that were there, but that I felt helped him in life. Watching your child's dream actually
happen,
coming to fruition and actually happen. And that's the best part of it. So that's the feeling I'll never forget. You know, everything that happens from here is gravy, but just watching that his dream was fulfilled, that was the best part of it.
You know, I know you're going to continue to, you know, push him and be an inspiration, but what are your goals, I guess, out of this for even through your son? Or what do you see happening now next? Or
Well, I see him being a very productive person this season. And with Alex, I've always said there is no ceiling, and because his dedication and his work ethic, he'll work harder than the next person. You know, it's not as a matter if you the fastest or the strongest. I'm gonna push myself to be the best person I can be, and that's always his steps to me have always been ordained. So even where people were saying he's gonna be a 5th or 6th rounder or he's not gonna be drafted at all, I never thought that.
Right.
You know, when they said if he goes to San Bernardino, nobody's going to come there. You're never going to get a Division I scholarship from San Bernardino. He did. So there's nothing that I feel like he's not going to do. So when he gets to Minnesota, they're going to find out who they have, and he's going to show them his work ethic, and it'll show on the field. And so his career, to me, he'll have a long, great career because of how he takes care of his body, how he prepares, how he's faith based, and his focus. So yeah, his future is bright, and he doesn't have a ceiling.
And he done beefed up. I don't even remember. I looked at Alex, I was like, who is, like, where all this muscle and all of this stuff come from? What is going on?
Yeah, Alex might have been 8 or 7 when y'all made it back then. So it's been, So
it's been a long time. Like, they were literally, like, little. Like, little. And I would always just watch them, like, hey, they go whatever.
But yeah, y'all family, so y'all always embraced us and brought us in. And, your mom's been my best friend forever.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not, we wouldn't be right without sharing all this with my family.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you were able to interview with me. One thing I did want to know is, like, what has changed, or how do you deal with, like, the ladies and stuff? Because I know there has to be a lot of that happening.
Nah, it's not as bad as you would think, because I have a girlfriend, and I try to make sure everybody knows it, so,
okay, you don't normally see that nowadays.
Yeah,
like, normally, the athletes, they...
No, he's had the same girlfriend since 10th grade.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we've been together.
And she went to Boise.
Going on 5 years now, so...
you guys went to the same... Well, your dad told me that, but...
Yeah. So, just trying to... I stay focused. And she got my back. I got her back.
Do you feel like she helps keep you focused and everything?
Yeah, definitely. I think she helps me keep my mind off of all the frustration that can come with football. A lot of people don't understand, like, some of these student athletes around the world are going through a lot just because how demanding it is. Like that's the sad thing that happened with Helinski over at Washington State, who took his life. And we have wristbands. I have one on Helinski's hope in honor of him. And it's just athletes.
What happened with that? I have no idea.
It was a situation where he took his own life. Just a family really they didn't know why. But a lot of stuff that was released is just there's student athletes around the world, especially at the collegiate level, that are just going through hard times, and they, some people can't handle it. Some people, they might result to going and doing something harmful to themselves, or even just, drugs or alcohol, whatever it might be, to escape from
the outside world.
Yeah, what's going on. So she definitely helps me just stay focused and get my mind off of football here and there. Like our Coach Harsin always told us, get your mind off of football. Go be a regular person. Don't sit here and be balled up with football for too much, because it can get overwhelming.
Right.
And a lot of people probably don't know that it can get that overwhelming, because from the outside in, you wait for the next week to see, the next game, and then, okay, they played, they won. All right, who are they playing next? And then you get excited for the game, but there's so much that goes into it as a football player, as a person, and as a student.
Yeah.
So, it's just something I think a lot of people probably need to be more aware of. But she definitely does help me.
I wasn't even aware of. I mean, well, you know that it's pressure, because you got to have pressure to get, like, the good grades, and then it's like you have your peers who it's like a big competition between you guys, like who's the best of the best, and then you got to worry about, are you meeting up to that level or that standard, and then like if the teams are noticing you, or if you will be able to fulfill your dream at the end, you know what I'm saying, and meet the end goal. So that's dope that you have your parents and you have a girl to help you keep you well rounded, and that keeps a lot of the girls at bay. And
Yeah, yeah.
One last thing, and I guess I'll end it on this. You mentioned your coach, so I want to know how influential was your coach in this journey, to getting you to this point.
So I've had, from junior All-American, I had Coach Mike, who was my coach, who since I was 6 coached me all the way up until high school, and he was, probably one of the most influential coaches to me, a mentor, and even to this day. And then I had my coach, Coach Imbriani, in high school, who was pretty similar to Coach Mike. They're in a different ways, but they're both the type of coach that they'll take a kid in if he's going down the wrong path and help him along the way. And they've done that multiple times throughout the time that I've even been coached by them. They're the type, they're going to take people under their wings and just allow them to grow. And so I've been able to have those type of coaches. And then when I got to college, Coach Marks, my running back coach, was the same way. He was more of like a second father figure to us, to the guys that he brought in, than just a coach on the field. And even though, sometimes he's hard on you, at the end of the day, he's inviting you to his house and wants his son to look up to you as a big brother. And so he builds that kind of bond. And so, I got a video the other day from so my roommate's girlfriend watches his son sometimes, like babysits while we go away or whatever. And so she sent a video and said, look what Liam said. And he's like, who's your favorite football player? And he's like, Alexander. So just things like that, just having a coach like that, it's been a blessing. I've been blessed with the coaches that I've been able to have over these years. And Coach Mike, Coach Imbriani, Coach Marks, and then Coach Harson have been very influential. And I can't wait to get up to Minnesota. And I know Coach Palomalo is going to be the same type of coach. And I had a great bond with him in the short conversation I had at the Combine. Okay. And for it to be fortunate enough to be working with him again after so much time has passed since we talked, and they draft me, and I'm so excited to get up there and get to work with him and get to be coached by him. And
are you nervous at all? Like, you leave tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I leave tomorrow.
Are you nervous to like get on the field? Like, what do you think it's gonna be like getting on the field? Like, I'm actually here, and it's gonna be cold too.
I'm excited. I'm excited. It's a new opportunity. There's no need to be nervous anymore.
You made it, right?
It's I'm at a different stage. There's a little bit of nerves because it's so surreal and it's actually real now. So there's a little bit of nerves in there, but I think it's more excitement than anything because I've been working for this my whole life, and now I have the opportunity. So now I'm just going to take advantage of every opportunity I have.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, that is Alexander Mattison and his father, Darrell Mattison. I want to thank both of you guys for interviewing with me and talking about your journey. It's really inspirational, and I think a lot of young boys will look at and see, like, especially boys from San Bernardino or even the IE period, like, and look and be like, wow, like, I have a chance and I can make it out there. So you're definitely an inspiration for the young youth. And, thank you for interviewing.
Of course, thank you. Hey, this is Alexander Mattison, running back from the Minnesota Vikings, and you're watching Neek at Night.